Hey there, Dale the Librarian here. I wanted to show you a quick tool, and the details on the learning curve are kind of here and there, so take it with a grain of salt. And if you want to have a class on this specifically, I can arrange to have a consultation set up with a group of people if you really want to dig into this database. When you're looking at census data, it gets kind of complicated, doesn't it? Well, there's a lot of numbers, and it comes out in Excel spreadsheets, and you're just like, what am I looking at here? So if you're a visual learner, that's what I put myself. Let me show you something that translates census data into maps, and they're a little easier to look at. From the Marriott Library homepage, and don't forget, if you're off campus, to log in the off-campus access. Research databases. Under the letter S is something called Social Explorer. Social Explorer, it's this one right here. There is a one-time user registration. I don't know if you need to be on campus to do that. Today I'm not going to use the registered version. When you see this, I think registration allows you to customize things, but more importantly, save things in an account form. But I'm just going to show you some of the maps that you can look at just to dig around and see what you can see. If you click on maps, and obviously there's some great tools and tours. When you're clicking on maps, there's a variety of things that you can look at that they've produced. There's a lot of value added. You can create your own maps though. And let me show you some of the ways that you can use just existing census maps. There's an older version and there's a newer version. I'm going to go with the new. I think it runs off of a Flash platform, so you might be reminded to do that. I'm going to skip the tutorial. So here we have a couple of things that I want you to be aware of. First of all, this is working with a data set already, and the data set's going to show up right here. So this is population density, and it tells you what census this was taken from, and there's some other pertinent information. You can see the visualizations, and you can change these visualizations, by the way. It's fun to play around with these things. There's all sorts of different customizations, so you can make maps for your own presentation. There's the ability, and this is where you would probably log in for creating reports. The one that I wanted to show you, if you go over here to change data, they have large categories, and these are based on the census questions that were asked. And so it'll change with the census that was taken. So if you go back to the census from 1930, for example, you're going to see a lot of these are grayed out. When you're looking through these, and you have the ability to do like a comparison map where you split the census data and you can do a comparison. I will show you that in a different video if you're interested. But the things that I wanted to show you, there is race, and then here are the categories of, again, where I was talking about in class, where people self-identify with something. So these are people who self-identify as just Asian alone, and all sorts of questions you can dig into. It's fun. Whenever you click on any of these, you're going to get a specific set of data. Another one that I wanted to show you, go back to category. Oh, there we go. Is there's different ways of framing ethnicity and ancestry. There's native and foreign-born, there's ancestry, there's Asian and Hispanic groups. There's a lot of ways of going into this, so I would encourage you to take at least like 20 minutes and cruise around and see if there isn't something that you're interested in that you find before you give up too quick. There's a lot of granularity to it, because when you look at the census, they want it to be as translatable and useful to as many different applications as possible. So here's the interesting thing. You're not stuck with this national map. So if we wanted to go in and look at people who self-identified as being from Mexican heritage, it's obviously, this map is very interesting, isn't it? But you can zoom in, and you're not stuck with the entire country, but you can go down and zoom in and zoom in. I think you can go down to the zip code level. So it's fun to cruise around your own neighborhood and see what's going on. When you mouse over each little, this is broken into census tracts. You can see for this particular data set. Again, we're in this particular data set, but you can see where those numbers show up. This is where you would gather some of that data on ancestry, ethnicity, gender, level of income, all sorts of different things like that. And I think this would be a really useful tool. I think you would have to plot your way through to gather the data that you're interested mostly. So be strategic about it and take your time. Maybe have a nice cup of coffee at your side to go through this, but I think this is a great resource to start with.